I was born in Lisbon, and I came from this very tight-knit community neighborhood in Passo de Arcos, which was a community that was mainly composed by African immigrants from Angola, Cape Verde, Guinea. And so growing up, I was very used to be surrounded by these African rhythms. So that was my first connection to dance and music, was African dance. That was something that really brought me to wanting to dance and wanting to be in this kind of world. I was very fortunate at a very young age to make part of this African dance group called the Little African Stars, which was composed by this and nurtured by this community center in Passo de Arcos. And I mean, I was so lucky to be able to be from such a young age, from 4 years old, be part of a group, learn that the hard work of rehearsing a routine, and obviously being the only boy, I was almost like the mascot of the group. The community center was very special to me because it was a place where I felt very safe, felt like I was being guided towards the right direction, and it really took care of us. And for me, that's always something that really I hold dear to my heart. And I remember this psychologist, Maria Coelho Rosa, she told me, I think you have big talent for dance, and you know, you can do a career out of it. And for me, it was very odd that you could do a career out of dance, because I've never really been in contact with any ballet or anything like that. And she said, well, I have some friends that went to the conservatoire in Lisbon, and they are having fantastic careers abroad, and they are really, it's an incredible school. And I remember thinking, how does a dance school look like? And she kind of told me, like, have you seen Fame? And I remember seeing the series Fame on TV a lot, and I just thought, like, wow, I want to be in a school like that, where everybody kind of is a bit loud and a bit more crazy, a bit like me. And I did go to Lisbon to the audition, and I remember I hadn't gone to Lisbon very often, so when I got the chance to go to Lisbon, was a huge, the center was a huge event almost. And I remember arriving in Kauldhar and just being mesmerized by the incredible architecture, the colors, and how everybody seemed to walk around the city with a lot of purpose and huge smiles. And it was a very nice crowd, and I felt very safe. And I did the audition, and somehow I got in, and it was one of the happiest moments for me, because I felt like, oh, finally I really feel like I have the worth, you know, like this is something that I can do, really. And so I started my journey from Passo de Arcos to Kauldhar, to the center of Lisbon, daily, and it became like I almost became part of the crowd, part of like I knew everyone in the train, almost the commuting every day. I knew everybody going up to school in Alto de Lobo, Bairro Alto. I used to know everyone on my path, and I felt very safe. And it was such an exciting time of my life, and I look back to those times of starting to learn ballet in that incredible school, the Conservatoire of Lisbon, where the teachers really took so much care of me, and I really understood where I was coming from and what my limitations might be, and they really took care of me. And I always think that to be able to really nurture talent, you need to understand what that person is all about, and what their insecurities and their limitations might be, and what you can do to help them. And I felt that in the conservatoire, from the beginning, I was so well guided and so understood, which for me was so important. And obviously, joining the school, a lot of things happened in my personal life, a lot of lost, and I was able to find this incredible family that nurtured me from a very young age, and took me in and took care of me, you know, made sure I was sleeping enough, eating well, getting all the preparation done so I could do good rehearsals, good classes, and get good grades and move forward. And that's the Barroso family, which is my family now. And I've been adopted by them. And for me, that the school and that time of my life has been so special because of them as well. Quickly, the directors of the school really started to nurture me towards, like, you know, exposing myself to a broader audience. And I went to several competitions. I remember the first one I did was actually YGP, one of the semi-finals in Firenze, Bologna in Italy. And I remember it was my first time on the plane, and I just remember really, when the plane was ascending, I remember thinking, oh my God, I'm really like stretching myself, because I was going away from my family, I was going to a foreign land, and really like trying to see what the reaction would be to my talent. And I remember in that first semi-final, I won a prize. And I remember seeing Miss Galen's talk for the first time. And I remember someone telling me, this is the Royal Ballet School director. And I remember just feeling like she was such an important image for me and someone that was really going to be part of my path. But somehow in that time, I don't think like there was much interest because I was very young. I think I was like 12, 13 or something like that. But I remember what I took out of that competition was not the competition itself, but seeing all those incredible talents and absorbing these other cultures for me was something so exciting. Being in Italy and seeing these beautiful dances and the costumes and the food, and I just think like I want to do more of this. So when the next invitation came to go to Beijing, I was like, absolutely, let's go to China. Oh my God, what else? And I remember arriving to China and just thinking, oh my God, this is like a complete different world. I was in Beijing. Beijing is so beautiful because you have this traditional side of the town, which is so like still very traditional Chinese. And then we have this incredible like forthcoming, very incredible, innovative part of the city. So I remember just being like perplexed with this contrast and being mesmerized by the amount of talent that I faced there. And I mean, I had very low expectations. I think I won a prize for my contemporary, which was something that I always hold very dear to me because from as well joining that school in the conservatoire, one thing that always really sparked my interest was contemporary. And I had a fantastic contemporary teacher called Catarina Moreira, which for me today, she is still the seed of my creativity and my curiosity. She always made me very curious to see Pina Bausch, to know what crystal pipe was, and Offeshek. So she always really cultivated that in me, and so I was very happy that we won the prize. But for me, what I took from that competition again was that, oh my God, there were guys that were 13 years old doing incredible steps. So I'm going to go back to Lisbon and I'm going to try those steps, and I'm going to make my teacher like teach me how to do a double tour like that and a saut de basse like that. So that's something that I always think is very positive when you put a student to a competition, to have very low expectations, but then bring so much from those trips with you. I think there's something that can be very positive out of these high pressure situations. After Beijing, I went to Moscow competition, which for me was like the one and only. I was training in Russian technique, Vaganova technique. So there was always a huge obsession with the past of Russia and the culture and what ballet really means in that part of the world. And my teachers were mainly Russian, and I hold very dear to my heart this teacher called Mikhail Zavyalov that really, pushed me to another level, and he took me to the Moscow competition. And, Moscow, when I went there, I had very low expectations because obviously knowing what the tradition is about, I remember looking at myself and thinking, well, it's not going to be easy. I don't think people are going to look at you and say like, wow, there's like a star or whatever. But I just went with the biggest smile on my face, and I remember making so many friendships, and that I still hold close to me today, and feeling a huge sense of freedom and excitement on the streets around that festival, because I feel like ballet has a different meaning in there. And I won as well a prize there, which was like super surprising. And for me, what I think is most important about that situation was meeting Vladimir Vasiliev, which for me was like a huge reference from, seeing all these videos, especially Spartacus. When I saw that man in front of me giving me a prize, I just remember thinking, my God, this is crazy. And that was a highlight. But obviously one competition that for me was very important to do, and something that really held a special place in my path, and I knew was going to be very enigmatic and important, was the Prix de Lausanne. Why? Because I knew that it was going to be a place where I could really find a director that would like me the way that I was. And I always had a bit of doubt, so, am I going to be good enough for this or that? And I felt like Prix de Lausanne was a place where someone in those juries and the judging panel and the school scouts, someone would look at me and see something. was so lucky that the Royal Ballet School saw that, and Miss Galen saw that. All those years, she had seen me through so many competitions. I mean, she saw me in YGP, I remember, a year prior, where I won the gold medal, and I remember her already kind of talking to me and kind of assessing out my situation and what my ambitions were. And then when she saw me in Prix de Lausanne, she did finally offer me the scholarship to join the school, which I was 15 years old, and I knew that 16 was that perfect age to still be able to go elsewhere and broaden my training and my horizons, and really planted some seeds. Prior to getting this scholarship, I remember that I knew that the Royal Ballet was going to be the place that I would like to go. For many years, I thought that America was going to be the place. I always had ambitions to go to New York. I just always thought, I guess it's that childhood fame, seeing the series Fame and having that connection, that ambition of being like this louder than life personality and charismatic. I always thought that America might be a better fit for me. And then I remember doing a gala in America where I saw someone doing Kenneth Macmillan's Romeo and Juliet, Pas de Deux, and I was very intrigued because until then my dance references were always like the Russian classical purity ballets. And then when I saw this very almost floating dance way and characterful, very honest, I just thought whoa, what is this? And that's when my obsession started with knowing to know more about the Royal Ballet. And then obviously coming to London with my parents during the summers, we did that a couple of times. I saw a poster of Carlos, and Carlos had been my reference. Carlos, Eric Vaughan, all these incredible dancers had been my references for many years prior. And then I saw Carlos in a tube poster in Covent Garden, and I just thought wow, this man is the one here in the UK. And I remember walking around London and just thinking, wow, I see so many people, so many cultures, so many different, types of people on the streets, and I feel like that has to be reflected on stage. And then when I saw Carlos there, I was like, well, yeah, this is the place for me. This is where I want to be. I feel I can be truly myself. I can grow into an artist, and I won't have any doubts, and just really enjoy it. So when I got that scholarship, was the combination was fireworks in my head, and just so much emotions went through my head, and my parents were so happy. Growing up, I had a very special friendship with this guy called Telmo Moreira, which is another incredible dancer around the world. He's in America at the moment, and a great choreographer as well. And he sparked from a very young age an interest of seeing videos every day. So after school, we'd go home and watch videos, ballet videos. So obviously, the first things that really sparked my interest was Julio Boca and Rudolf Nureyev, and obviously Carlos Acosta. Seeing his videos, I was just mind blown. But someone that really caused a big impression on me was Eric Vaughan. I remember seeing him in a cover of a magazine many years ago, and just being intrigued by his beauty. And then I started looking back and seeing the trajectory that he had with Paris Opera and then going to the south of France. And I just remember thinking, this guy is absolutely beautiful and I want to dance like him. And then I saw a video of him being rehearsed by Vladimir Vasiliev, and I was just like, wow, this is amazing. And there was a very inspiring video that I remember seeing. And then throughout my growth as an artist in a school in Portugal and everything, I was very exposed to the contemporary repertoire, and Pina Bausch was always someone that really intrigued me. Like reading a good book, like watching a really good movie, watching a piece by Pina Bausch, it feels like a full-on meal. Feels like a real great experience. So I remember from a young age having such an interest in that and thinking, wow, dance has so many different shapes and forms and you can do so much with it. So that was something that really sparked my interest. And I remember as well just being completely and utterly enamored with the idea of theater and, being able to see what our ballet could connect with that. And I think those were always things that really kind of kept in the back of my mind and referenced throughout my growing up as a child. Coming from Lisbon to then arriving in London in this classroom with probably 30 boys, very incredible talented 30 boys. My year was exceptional, I must say, and I remember feeling very daunted and very insecure about being around like such talented, beautiful shaped bodies and just incredible students. And I remember being very intimidated when I first arrived, which was very humbling. And I knew that when even coming from Lisbon, my mom and my dad always, and my whole family always made me feel like I had a huge responsibility and to really give my talent the best shot and to really keep on the right track. So I was very nervous about like living alone, first of all, having the responsibility to put it all on me and really making sure that I was eating well, sleeping well. So all that side was very exciting, but very daunting. And then when I started doing the training, coming in, I thought to myself, be a clean canvas. You are coming here to really retrain everything, to really like go back to your foundations and rebuild everything. And that humbleness, I think, really helped me because I didn't come here to like show what I already had. I really wanted to stretch my progress. So in my first year at the Royal Ballet School, I had Milis Pakri, which is an incredible Estonian teacher, and he was tough, so tough. And I feel like in Portugal, I always had kind of like a very like 101 progress with my coaches, and this teacher, he had to deal with 30 incredible talented boys. I don't think were 30, but 20 talented boys, and he was very tough on me. And from the beginning, I thought like, oh, this teacher might not like me very much. I think he has something against me. I don't think I'm gonna do well here. And I remember suffering in the beginning a lot. Quickly, I understood that actually all he was doing was actually pushing me to the next level because he believed that I had the potential to do so. And so in the first year, I remember learning a lot about like landing my jumps because I really wasn't like specific technical stuff that was very important for me, like landing properly, using my full leg and all these kind of things that I never really thought of because I always just thought like, oh, jumping is jumping. And that's when I think 16 years old is when you really start like forming an idea of what dancer you can be. And I feel like that was a very decisive, incredible moment. And then obviously something as well that I really loved about that first year in England was choreography. I remember having the opportunity to do the Ursula Marathon in the school and being nurtured by these choreographic teachers. And I think was probably one of the most exciting things coming to England that first year was to be able to like have a studio, incredible studio with incredible dancers and just like take command and being in that directorship role, which really pleased and really sit well with me and excited me. And then the second year was even, I think, more challenging because we were getting closer to, getting jobs the next year. And for me was something that was very daunting to me because I knew that I had the talent and the confidence and the willingness to work. But I just thought like, how are people going to perceive me? Are people seeing what I'm seeing? Are people really believing that maybe like you can have like a shorter dancer in a company that looks like me? I always had a bit of doubts about that because I was in a year with like where everybody was 6 foot and I just thought like, oh my God, how am I going to like stand out in that aspect? And second year was excited because as well, I had another great teacher, David Peden, he was so much about the cleaning and looking pure, which for me was never a requirement. I don't feel like was something that anyone really like looked for me to get. And I just thought like, wow, it's amazing if I can add this to me, like add that clean, pure line. And I started researching more the Royal Ballet style in the 70s in the Royal Ballet and Anthony Dowell and, all this incredible generation, Antoinette Sibley and all that generation really laid, not the foundations, but really made the British technique, if so, came more to the center of the conversation. And I remember researching a lot about this, and then I started researching more about like the vast repertoire that the Royal Ballet had. And I think that second year was when I really fell in love with the Royal Ballet as a company, and I started looking at ballets like Saint de Ballet, all these incredible like more not obscure, but maybe less famous ballets. And I really just started thinking, wow, this is a company that I really can, engage with and get so much out of it. So rich, the legacy that it has. And then that's when I really started getting that nervous feeling. I really want to get it. I really want to join the company. And you don't really know if you're doing right or wrong. And then the next year, Okay, by the end of that year, actually, me and Rose started really dancing a lot together. And Rose is a dancer in the company, a fantastic dancer, and we started dancing a lot together and doing Don Quixote and like doing galas and everything. And little we knew that we were already being under the radar of the company and the director, Kevin O'Hare. And the next year, when we came in to the third year, the graduation year, we were called into the office in the second week of the school, and we were offered a job to join the company. And I mean, I still remember being called to the office by Galen Stock, and you know, it's a huge build-up. You know, you train so much and you humble yourself so much. You don't believe that things are going to happen your way, and you're just like in this mindset of work, work, work. And then when someone just tells you are joining the company in 2 weeks, my mind was blown. If ever was blown, that was the day. And I mean, me and Rose, I remember we went on a massive shopping spree that day and took the day off and just, you know, had so much fun around and just think like, yeah, we can finally, you know, go and spend some money because we're going to be earning money. We're going to be professionals in 2 weks. But we went to this market, this flea market. It was happening in Covent Garden, actually. And we bought these infinite spiral things that if you keep spinning them, they keep spinning forever. And it's like a long horn-shaped thing. And I still have mine in my wardrobe, and I've carried it with me this whole time, and it still sits hanging in my wardrobe. And I'm so superstitious like this. I keep things like this. I keep stones. I'm very spiritual when it comes to this kind of stuff. I often sometimes go into my wardrobe and just spin it around and just, you know, just like keep that nice energy going or touch it. And that was something that we bought. And of course, we bought clothes and we went to the hairdressers as well. I think Rose had a change of heart and dyed her hair, which was fun. When I joined the company, the first day when I actually got the contract, I had to, after we went on a shopping spree, the next day I had a rehearsal on stage of Requiem, which I had been rehearsing as a student. Then when I got the job, the first thing that I did was going on stage and getting that first position of the incredible, probably one of my favorite ballets in the repertoire of the Royal Ballet, the Requiem by Kenneth Macmillan. And I remember just having a little tear coming down my eye in that first position, being in a group, because it's a very powerful group piece. You know, the whole core principles, everybody's in this massive group coming from stage left. And I remember just being on stage with Carlos, Marinella, Leanne Benjamin, Edward Watson, and all of this incredible group of dancers. And the company had a very like special feel. It's very hard to pinpoint what makes that group so special, but it's a group that I don't think if you look around you, there's not someone that doesn't know what it means to be there. And these roles have so much power. And I just felt such a sense of responsibility. And suddenly I was partnering girls from the company, which for me were these powerful, beautiful women. And I just think like, wow, I'm now part of this. I will be part of this. And this was a very gratifying experience. And it's about that I cannot wait to repeat and be able to know, put my stamp in it and be able probably, hopefully, to do the one of the three roles. And another performance that was very remarkable, and that was my first performance as a member, was La Valse. And this for me is a remarkable ballet because it was my first Ashton ballet. And I feel like Ashton, you either get it or you don't, and it's something that really is in your blood to understand or it's not. And when I danced that La Valse, I just had a huge sense of glamour, something that probably I never really had before. And I remember being on stage and coming on and just seeing this group of incredible, beautiful men and women dressed in these fantastic costumes. The design is incredible and it's quite mystical and very mature. And I just felt like, wow, I'm here, and Ashton feels so grounded, and that I always felt like I had a huge connection with my contemporary training as well, and it's just so low and the whole body dances, and I just felt like, oh, I can't wait to be part of this repertoire and be able to do more of this rep. And how lucky was I to have such an incredible repertoire to start with, and very involving. It's not a repertoire that you stand on the back and you just kind of learn. Like I was put into the deep end, thrown on a deep end, and dancing with these incredible professionals, and suddenly I had to put myself up there, and there was no time to doubt myself or feel insecure. And the company was very nurturing. So in that first year when I joined the company, apart from being part of incredible repertoire and getting quick opportunities like dancing the Bronze Idol, the bronze idol in the Natalia Makarova's production of Ballet there was for me like another moment that for me in that first season was very remarkable, because I remember her coming in and auditioning us, and you know, she's this larger than life character, she's an icon and so glamorous. And I remember her just sitting in front of me in the studio and like making me repeat the solo, and I just remember thinking, is this actually happening? And another incredible moment was having Christopher Wilden choosing me as well to do a soloist part in that first season in this Ballet Aeternum. And I remember just as well feeling very thankful that someone like him would, you know, want to push me so early. And I'll never forget that. I think he's a very special person, because I feel like sometimes he spots things on people that people might not see. And of course, Kevin O'Hare. I mean, Kevin O'Hare from the beginning, when I first joined the company, I think I never really felt like I could be this comfortable and confident in an environment like this. And that all came because Kevin, that guiding force from the top, was making me feel like everything was possible and I just need to work hard and, you know, really, and I remember always him telling me to like be as good at the opportunities that he gives me as well as the corps de ballet. So I remember coming in and like in the corps de ballet I always have this massive smile and like really trying to like take that moment to, you know, be noticed. But I mean, I've been in the company now for 9 years, almost a decade, which is an incredible achievement for me, because I think I always had a huge anxiety about timing and where I was going to be at this certain age. And I think things flow so much when you're having a good time and when careers are exciting. And not just my career, I feel like what is exciting as well is witnessing talent around me being developed, and that is always a great sign that you're in the right place, when it's not just you, but there's a whole generation coming up. And I mean, we have incredible dancers that are, I'm part of that same generation. And for me, that's what is so exciting about being in the Royal Ballet right now, is that the directorship is really pushing this and nurturing colleagues of mine. So I have people that from my year, like Matthew Ball, Anna Rose, Yasmin was a year above, Frankie. We are all very tight-knit group that has really like come up together, and I think that for me is so exciting. I mean, I have had a chance to do incredible repertoire. I obviously want to broaden my horizons more repertoire-wise, and I feel like I can't wait to do so. But so far, dancing all of the Ashton work for me have really connected well with me, and has been not an easy process, because the Ashton ballets are some of the hardest technically to do. But the repertoire that really you feel the most like you achieved something huge when you finish. So stuff like Colas in La Film Magardé, for me, is one of the ballets that I remember. I still can feel the ballet in me today, and I can still remember like looking at Francesca Hayward's eyes on stage and just being completely enamored and absolutely in love in that moment with that curtain, in that space and that costume and that history and the legacy and the enthusiasm of the audience, because the audience know this ballet so well and they know what it's all about. So I remember this being one of those, and The Dream, it's something that as well, an achievement that for me it's forever going to be so gratifying. Why? Because I got to work as well with Anthony Dowell. And Anthony Dowell not only gave me so much technically, but as well emotionally and character-wise is a master of eye movement on stage, and I feel like that's something that I love, and I think that's something that is very unique to the Royal Ballet and Ashton repertoire. Other repertoire as well that I love is Balanchine. I think Balanchine is always something exciting to do, because it's physical and it's athletic, and stuff like Tarantella, Rubies are ballets that really have like pushed me on that level. And Tchaikovsky Pas de Deux, it's just like it kind of connects me to that sports side of dance, which I think is very, very exciting. And it's very cool because I can be myself. It's my personality out there, and I can really just choose who I'm going to be today. And then, of course, someone that I love dearly is Kenneth Macmillan. It's that kind of rap that I feel like it's a slow burner for me. It's a rap that I'll slowly get there and hopefully do. Romeo was a huge achievement, and is one of those ballets that I felt the most confident and comfortable in. I just felt like there was no right or wrong way to do it. I just have to really be truthful to what I'm feeling at the moment, because the choreography says it all. And of course, there's other ballets that I really want to achieve. Like I really like the short works by Macmillan. I think those are so powerful and so masterful. Like Song of the Earth, Requiem, are two of the ones that are really different drama. I think that rep is just really special and really holds a place in my heart that I really hope to do. And then recently, choreographers like Crystal Pite have been a huge inspiration. I mean, I seek to see her work every day. I seek to try to understand that genius every day because I feel like she's just something else. But Trophy Night was probably one of the best shows I've seen in my life. And I remember seeing it twice because I was just like, oh my God, trying to really get and try to really understand and put together these massive pieces of this puzzle. And I just can't really understand the genius of her head. I think it's just so amazing. And being in a creative process with her in Flight Pattern was just like probably one of the highlights of my career. And I think Kathy Maston has done incredible work in, pushing what ballet can be. And I think that's very exciting, point work and the mixture of point and contemporary work. And I think she's a super humble, incredible master. And I mean, other thing that is so special about the Royal Ballet is that we have these incredible resident choreographers like Wayne McGregor, which pushes the boundaries. I don't think I've ever seen a ballet that I like most in the past 10 years as Wolfworks. I think it's just so evocative and just so innovative and so raw and confident. And I think is an incredible master. And then anything that Chris Wooden has put out there in the past years and all his career has been so helpful in pushing this art form forward, which I think is exciting as well. And he's just such a humble, spectacular guy to work with as well, which I think is so cool. And the fact that as well that he has been able to like showcase incredible talents and people that really inspire me, like Edward Watson, and really, push him to that brink of his existence and his talent. I mean, it's just so incredible to see. My career has been made up of so many incredible highlights, but as well moments of huge challenging, not just like physical, because obviously I've been injured. I've suffered incredible injury to my shin, which kind of set me back a little bit, but I never really felt like it was going to be a huge dent on my career because I had Kevin O'Hara always telling me, heal properly, go through this process because you'll come back stronger. And I had to really trust him on that because I was in such a path. I had just been promoted to first soloist, and Kevin was casting me in these incredible ballets like Giselle and Alice in Wonderland, and I missed all those incredible opportunities. And I just thought, I feel like my opportunity to get to principal has gone. And then obviously coming back from injury, coming stronger, more confident, having a bigger knowledge of what I want to do and what my limitations are. Because sometimes when you're young and you just are in this massive path, sometimes you kind of forget where your limitations are and you just like kind of ignore signs that your body is pleading you to stop and slow down. And now I'm so much more aware and in tune with my instrument, and I think that's so important. So that was a huge dent, but I learned a lot from it. I kind of fell in love with Pilates, gyro, and and understood what I can do with my body, and change it, and like mold it in a way that I actually prefer it and feel like looks better. I think that was the positive of it. A huge highlight was obviously being promoted to principal, and this is something that I always wanted to achieve, not because of holding that position, but it's because it was me fulfilling a prophecy and a manifest that I put out there from such a young age, and to do it in such an iconic company for me was a highlight. So those things come hand in hand, being in the lowest of the low, having to really rethink as well everything, and understand what I can do, and really taking a step back, going to see I saw so many performances. I saw a lot of theater, contemporary dance, the Royal Ballet. I saw so much of my colleagues, and I remember thinking, wow, what is missing? What can I do more? What artist is missing in this establishment? What can I bring that other dancers don't have? And there was a huge moment of reflection, which I always tell dancers: if you go through an injury, dig deep, let your guard down, understand what it all means to you, and do an assessment of what you need to do to, achieve further and move to the next level. I think that was very enlightening. At the moment that I think are not very spoken about in the dance world is mental health as well, and like the doubts and the things that you go through growing up, and sometimes we don't acknowledge them because we want everything to happen in a certain way, but having doubts are very important. It's very important in the path of an artist because we are not sportsmen. No one is going to give you a score. Oh, you gave 100% on that step or that performance. You have to really deal with those doubts in yourself. And one thing that I always say to dancers as well is you have to have a very strong sense of community and friendship around you. It can be a very daunting career if you do it all alone and you don't have the support of your friends, family. So I always think it's very important to think about that and to acknowledge those feelings. If you're not feeling good, you need to talk with someone. If you're feeling like doubt or someone mistreated you, it's very important to voice those things because the moment that you can express that and put it out there, those things move on and you can, focus on what is important and accept criticism, and in a good way, accept it in a good way. So don't make it all about yourself. It's about your path. It's about the bigger picture. It's not about the moment. It's about what you can do with that criticism and, push it further. And I feel like that's very important as well. I think our generation is put in a different bracket because we came from these incredible dancers like, Darcy Bustle, Sylvie Guillem, Massimo Moore, all this incredible generation, the past generation, the 90s, 80s, that was incredible. We always kind of compared, but we are in a very different space today. We have social media that is pushing us in a completely different brink. Like people see you in a much more instant moment. One thing that can be very positive about social media is that, for example, in times of pandemic and stuff like this, I've learned that I can still have a platform to showcase what I'm about, not just Marcelino on stage, but who does he connect with? What is his ambitions? I love fashion. I love brands. I think it's very exciting when dance can be portrayed and ballet can be portrayed in a different shape rather than that shape, dance stage shape. So I feel like that's a good way to bring dance and ballet to the 21st century and almost make it, as you say, cool, like more approachable, more of today. And I think that's a good positive side of social media, but it's a very hard subject to tackle. I've had a dream the other day actually about this, about dance in the future and what social media and what shows in the future could look like. And what really scared me is that in that dream I saw that going to theater was a luxury, was almost like we're going to theater, we're going to a public space. And that for me was like kind of like weird because I almost looked like in that dream that social media was going to be the norm, like seeing shows through a screen was going to be the norm and going to theater was like this rare event. As human beings, we are very social beings. We love the warmth, we love sharing experiences. So going to theater is there. Going to theater is meeting a friend and talking about that dancer and that designer and that music and feeling the sense of the orchestra blowing, that energy blowing towards you and the suspense of having that velvet curtains close. So that's something that you cannot get from sitting at your home watching a performance. It does not connect in the same level. And although we are going through this moment where we are kind of getting used to seeing things online, that will never be replaced. And I believe that profoundly, that the theaters hold a very special place in society and in human experience. So I'm not afraid that's going to happen. But I do fear that with the exposure of having all these shows provided online, that people might forget that and might think that, it's so cozy and comfortable here, but it's hard to believe that because going to theater is not just seeing the performances, seeing your friends, seeing a friendly faces, sitting in those velvet seats, and the expectation. That's something that I always say that is very remarkable about being a dancer, is that people never really ask you how you feel just before the curtain comes up, and those few seconds before the curtain comes up are the most special ones for me, where they hold where everything holds, that expectation. We don't really know what's going to happen. And then when the curtain's up, you hear the audience breathe. You feel the air condition come through the stage. It becomes colder suddenly. And the expectation, it's something that you cannot get from a screen. And I think that's something that is always going to hold art and ballet and theater experience in a very special place in the world.